last lap was at 1:47.28.
So that's my best lap of Monza so far. Coming into the first chicane, I've got to take the first right quite aggressive. I want to take the first one quite aggressive, but the second one not as much to get a good exit. So I'll take quite a big chunk of that one, not so much with the left hand there. So that kind of like helps with the getting the exit out for this long straight. Again, trying to stay as tight as I can on the inside without obviously touching the grass. I want to shave off as much time as possible. Coming into the next chicane, I actually made a slight mistake here. I turned in slightly too early with a little alteration to my line. The line isn't as straight as what I'd want it to be, but I still managed to make it work. Probably just lost a tenth maybe there. This first Lesmo, I took this quite well, to be fair. I think maybe I turned in maybe a little bit too early, but this second Lesmo took a big chunk of the inside curb there. I've noticed that helps to really shave off quite a lot of time on your lap times. I used to try and avoid it and try and use a lot of the camber of the track, but actually using that curb helps. Coming into Ascari now, take a big chunk of the first curb there. That allows you to stay full throttle for the rest of the sequence with the right and the left hander, and also short shift into fourth helps. This next one, with some cars you can actually take this in fourth gear. With this one, I feel like going into it in fourth is good, down to fifth, fourth, and then a late change into third as well. Get the angle right and hopefully get a good exit. Getting as tight as you can to the left-hander there shows how close you was to being on the accelerator a bit too early, but that was good for me, and managed to pull out a 47.2. So that was a pretty decent time. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some bastards out there pulling 46s out of their arsehole, but you know, the 47.2 is good for me. I think it was a good lap. Yeah, the Porsche again, like it's probably one of the few cars that can get away with doing like zero wing. I think on a lot of cars in a GT3 you probably do like a wing of like 2, 1 and 0, but because of all the grip on the rear, you can really get away with sort of like doing zero wing with this car on quite a few tracks actually. Like the more wing you tend to have, the more understeer you get with the car, which is already quite excessive anyway. But yeah, with the BOP change, I don't know, like I feel like maybe they've slightly decreased the power. I'm not too sure. It doesn't feel like ever since the BOP change. I think like on 3 tracks that I remember doing on Imola, I think before the BOP I did like a 41.4, and then afterwards I was able to do a 41.2. I think I did pretty much like a slightly better lap anyway, but at the same time it didn't feel that much different. On Nürburgring as well, there wasn't really much of a change actually. I think I got roughly the same time as I did before the BOP. So it's top speed, even though like they've reduced some of the brake horsepower. It doesn't feel like it's a huge difference. The big difference is mainly the fuel. The fuel is now a lot more. It doesn't have the advantage that it had before when it comes to fuel, basically. So you know, that's kind of screwed me over a little bit, the bastards. But no, that's cool. I mean, if anything, it makes it a lot more competitive, I guess, with the races. You can't really, like before, I would be able to. I knew I didn't really have a lot of the pace on some of the guys in the league that I've just joined, the VR GT3, but at the same time I thought the advantage of the fuel would get me out of trouble. Now what's happened is some of the pace of the other cars have been brought down slightly, and the fuel economy for a lot of the cars has basically been kind of like brought closer together. So for instance, I think yeah, before when I was checking out the fuel before, like for example on a track on Spa, I think, yeah, the biggest difference in terms of like, say for like an hour and a half race, there was sort of, the biggest difference in fuel would be like, what was it, 134 for the best fuel economy car, M6, and then the worst was the C7 with a 184. So that's like 50 litres. That's 25 seconds in the pit. way too much. But then now, the difference so far from what I've tested, I've only tested like seven cars, but so far the difference is only like 10 litres between the best and the worst. So now it's only like a difference of like 5 seconds in the pits. So they've definitely equalised a lot of the fuel economy, but so far I'm still pretty happy with the car. Like still got a lot to learn with it, but at the same time I'm definitely getting used to it. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Hope the setup. Hope you find the setup useful, and I'll catch you guys later.
Take your time, start it back up and get back in the race.